In less than 2 hours, we have the Fed minutes meeting coming up, where the Fed is going to decide how aggressive they want to be at controlling inflation. 50 basis points or 75 basis points, and everyone's got an opinion. I see so many opinions. People think we're going to pump after it. People think we're going to hit new lows after it. I see every opinion possible, and it's totally split, totally mixed. The sentiment right now is totally unclear. Everyone's got a different opinion. That's what I've noticed. We got the news articles are saying that it's looking hawkish. Crypto Twitter people are saying that they're buying this dip and then that we're going to pump afterward. I mean, it's just all over the place here. But one thing that's interesting is Bitcoin is falling below the uptrend line. And like I've been saying, it's an uptrend until it's not. And if Bitcoin closes the daily after the meeting below the trend line, if Bitcoin closes below the RSI trend line after the meeting today, well, it's looking like it's not much of an uptrend anymore. We're breaking below. I mean, the chart speaks for itself. Now, this can be avoided if we have a post-Fed meeting pump after they make the announcement. If we just pump afterward, this will just be a wick, and we will be, if we close up above this trend line, well, then we see continuation up. That is always possible. Ethereum is really the one that has the final say currently. Its posturing is way more bullish than Bitcoin, clearly. I mean, it's just been doing really well. It's been leading the market. We have the Ethereum merge coming up. And if Ethereum falls below 1800, that's when I would say, okay, downtrend is confirmed. Looks like we got a pullback on our hands. So Ethereum is the last line of defense for the bulls. If Ethereum can bounce above 1800, well, the crisis can be averted. So let's just hop into it and discuss all of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be discussing Bitcoin, which is looking a little bit droopy, and Ethereum, which is coming up on a major previous resistance that could be new support, but if it fails, it'll likely result in a lot of downside. Today we got the Fed meeting coming up at 2 p.m., less than 2 hours from now as I'm making this video. Now there's a chance that the Fed kind of steps back a little bit and we get a 50 basis point hike, or the Fed can be continuously aggressive. If that does occur, if we get the 75 basis point hike, well, that could result in the S&P seeing some downside, getting a little bit of a local top. And if that occurs, well, Bitcoin's going to close below the trend line and Ethereum would probably fall below 1800. The crypto market is going to follow the stock market. It has been following the stock market. The S&P is up from the bottom, 18%. Though it looks different on this chart. It looks like crypto hasn't bounced as much, but it has. Ethereum's up 100% from the bottom. Bitcoin's up 43%, or it went up 43% from the bottom. So crypto is bouncing with the stock market. The correlation recently has been so unbelievably strong, guys. Everything the stock market does, crypto does. You can't even tell the difference between the two. Right? In crypto, even though it doesn't look like it, has bounced more in percent than the stock market. But correlation has nothing to do with percentages necessarily. It could. But in this case, it's about direction. The direction of the market. When the S&P is bullish, crypto is bullish. When the S&P is bearish, crypto is bearish. And that's the correlation, and that's the way it has been going. That's the way it is right now. So the S&P is going to make the call. And the Fed is going to make the announcement today, and whatever the S&P does, crypto will follow, obviously. And like I've been saying, guys, it's an uptrend until it's not. So far, right now for Bitcoin, it's looking like maybe it's not an uptrend anymore. It's getting a little droopy. We're getting it's looking a little bit weak. It's looking like we're lacking some buy demand here. Right, if there was a lot of bullish demand, we would have likely held the trend line and just bounced. But there's some uncertainty as we're moving into this Fed meeting today. And the last call, the last stand is really going to be Ethereum at 1800. If Ethereum falls below here, well, it's looking like we got some downside momentum on our hands. And at that point, likely the S&P, the stock market, would also be heading back down, which was interesting because if you look at the stock market, we've seen like the price squeeze in below the resistance line, then pump up, squeeze in below a new resistance line, pump up. Are we going to create a new downward sloping resistance line, test the lows, and then pump up? Quite possible. And if that does happen, Bitcoin may also be looking to retest the lows again in a bearish scenario. And something that I noticed is that there's a lot of people out there that basically didn't buy the dip, and they're sitting there really pissed off. There's a lot of people that are really worried, frustrated, and pissed off. Oh man, I didn't buy, whatever. They didn't buy the dip and the market's up, and they really need the price to come down because they need to buy. So if the price does come down, if prices do come down, I think we're going to find buyers, guys. I think we're going to find buyers. So it could even be a short-lived dump if we do dump, because there's a lot of people on the sidelines that are very worried right now. And if I've noticed that if I talk about upside, a lot of commenters get pissed because they don't want to believe that they missed the bottom. They do not want to believe that, right? They need the market to go down. They need it to go down because they need to buy. So there's a lot of conflicting sentiment out there. But again, as long as Ethereum is above this 1800 level, there's still a shot that we avoid disaster and we pump up. But even if we do pump up, remember, like I've been saying, it's likely that we probably go lower later anyway. What I've been saying on my channel recently is that if you're buying Bitcoin or Ethereum right now or here, or you just bought, what we've been saying on this channel for the past 2 or 3 videos is that this is not an optimal entry. It is the time to be cautious. And even if the price does bounce up, likely it's going to be going back to where you bought or lower later. Because, guys, it is just unlikely. It's unlikely that we just go to the moon. So you have to be rational about this. If you're FOMOing right here, you're likely not buying at an optimal point, and the price is probably, even if we bounce, is probably going to be going below where you bought and lower later. That's just how markets work. For Bitcoin, for most markets, when you find a low, you retest the low. Other than COVID, which was this fluke, massive wick down, wick up panic situation, liquidity issue situation. Other than that, we usually test the low, then retest at least near it or lower or at the low, right? So it's likely that it doesn't really matter what happens in the short term. We could pump, it doesn't matter. At some point, we're going to be retesting the lows, maybe even going lower, or maybe even creating a higher low, right? Whatever. But all I know is that the likelihood of retesting the low area is high. It's always high. When you find a low, right, the whales, the big players want to see the low tested more than one time to give them confidence that that is the low. And then accumulation really starts to kick in. And then we start to see the supply get bought up, and then maybe a recovery going into the next year, something along those lines. So the low is likely going to be tested again, whether today's Fed meeting causes a pump or not, whether we somehow avoid this breakdown with like a wick back up, close, and bounce. Regardless of all this short-term nonsense, we're likely going to test the low at some point. So it is, in fact, time to be cautious. So Ethereum's really got to hold 1800 if we're going to see continuation here. But again, just be cautious, guys. Just be cautious. If the Fed does a 75 basis point hike, which seems like maybe, I don't know, maybe that's likely, they're just going to continue with what they've been doing, well, we could see some downside. So Bitcoin's already showing breakdown signals. Ethereum is the last thing to really give us a signal here. So if Ethereum's above 1800, there's still hope. If we start closing dailies below 1800, it's looking like a breakdown is coming. Keep your eye on the stock market as well, guys. This is going to be the driving force behind the next move. But that's really it for me today. I don't even know if it's worth making this video right now, but we'll see, because the Fed meeting's going to change. Like, things are about to change in the next 2 hours. So maybe I'll make a video later today or go live. I don't know. Something will happen. But guys, check out all the links below. Join Patreon to get my VIP Discord chat. And if you sign up for BitGet using my link, you do get thousands of dollars in trading bonuses Just follow the steps. You'll get thousands of dollars to trade with if you follow those steps as a reward. That's the BitGet link. I stake my Ethereum on Kraken. So that's all. There it is. Anyway, that's it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.